All right, this is going to be really interesting, I think. It's interesting to me because as I've found the things I found, I've decided that Jesus, well, everybody knows Jesus historically was a real person, and he apparently did all these things. There's very, very detailed history everywhere that relates to what he did on earth, which was pretty miraculous. That's why they call him miraculous. I mean, now, why did he die for us? Why did they let him nail him up on a cross and torture him and do all those things? And he didn't fight back. My brother and I had not an argument, but we had a discussion my brother says he should have had laser beams shoot and fried everybody on the spot. Well, that's not what his mission was. And I'm right now, I'm way in the middle of what his mission was. I think he was here, first of all, to enforce God's law of peace and love. All right? So he had to show that even though he was going to be in the most terrible way destroyed, he wouldn't fight back. Now, I don't know about this anymore. I just don't know. I'm just so confused after this thing in Ukraine. And, I got to be honest with you. I can't imagine being Vladimir Putin, what he's thinking here. This is just horrendous. Absolutely horrifying. It makes me sick to my stomach to even think about it. All right, I'm just going to tell you my opinion of this whole thing. My brother thinks that he should have just zapped them all and said, I'm here, I'm God, and so forth, and I'm in control. Well, that's not the way. You need to have people that are just and charitable within their own heart. You can't force somebody's heart to do that. You just can't do it. So I say he showed us by allowing them to just destroy him and just make it just pitiful, absolutely horrifying spectacle of what they did to him. And he didn't fight back, showing that he was, the violence was never going to be the way. Violence is never the way. It can't be done. Now, we have a situation, everybody knows what's going on in Ukraine right now. I'm not going to speak about it because I don't know what to say. But I can tell you one thing right now, this is not the way, Mr. Putin. It is not the way, my friend. And if I was in your shoes right now, knowing what I know about eternity, and I'm telling you, as far as I'm concerned, eternity is real, and the consequences of being on the wrong side of it are eternally wrong and terrible. And if it was me, I'd turn those tanks right back around. I'd say, hey, we're going to bring in some people to help you rebuild your country, and we're sorry. That's my advice. Thank you. Have a nice day. Now, what happened during Jesus' time? See, this is how the sins keep us away from God. He said, I don't want you people here doing those kind of things. Not in my house. Stay out. And where you're going to go to is not going to be a good place to be. Just think of what the people are doing and living through in Ukraine right now. How would you like to have that for eternity? And putting that on these poor people, just horrifying. Let's just leave that for now because I have no authority in that realm. None. And none of us do. None of us do. It's the man with the power that has to be the good person in this case, has to realize and just, so we got to turn it around somehow. It's too late to stop what's been done. It's not too late to make up for it and try to make it right. Somehow we have to make this right. I don't know how. But violence is not the way. More bombs is just not the way. It's not Jesus' way. It's not the way of eternity and of a good eternity. Again, I'm sorry, I just can't help myself. Anyway, in the Old Testament times, the people of Israel followed a system of sacrifices. Everybody gave sacrifices, and the most living sacrifices were perfect animals without blemish. Why? Why would that be? I think these were basically alien creatures, even though Jesus was who he said he was. He was the Father, he was the Son of our Father, who was trying to keep these animals perfect, without blemish, and then also making a peaceful society out of humans. And it went all wrong. It went all wrong because the people he sent, well, the people, the angels, whatever you want to call them, he sent down, the watchers, to work with us to try to bring this to fruition, said, wow, this is going to be fun. We can, all these women are hot looking, and let's just have a good time. And then from then it went crazy because their DNA did not work with the human DNA. He wanted animals without blemish. That's all I can think of. All right, so I'm not going to fight with my brother about Jesus being a blood and flesh person with all the feelings and pain and suffering and all that you do. I believe he had all that. He had all that painful death. And he did it to show us not to be violent. He said God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but in order that the world might be saved through him. Well, I don't think it worked all that well, to be perfectly honest with you. I think people saw it and it just got lost in the translation over the course of time. And now we just say there's no such thing as God or any of that stuff. It's all nonsense. Jesus was just a guy, you know, kind of a crazy guy saying crazy things, and, you know, and some crazy people bought into it. Well, no, I'm saying it's just the opposite way around. And he was the ultimate sacrifice to say, look, listen to what I'm telling you. I showed you these miracles, and if you can't see this, and then I rose from the dead after 3 days, and you people are going to just ignore this, well, too bad for you. Because it's not going to work out good. You're going to go this side, you're going to go that side. That side is not going to work out. Not for me. And I would have never believed in any of this stuff until maybe 10 years ago. And now as I start to study it, and I don't study the Bible, I don't read the Bible and things like that. I'm trying to read as much as I can about things that are newly discovered, like the Gnostic texts and the Dead Sea Scrolls. Nobody knew about these things. And right in here, he says that the earth is a body and the earth is a corpse. And it is. Everything is made of bodies of some gigantic thing. I don't know what else to say. I'm sorry, it's just a fact. That's what I've turned up in my evidence. And all I can say is Jesus came here to say, live the way I'm telling you to live. Don't do the bad things. And all of these sayings are in here. There's a lot of them. Boy, I'll tell you, yikes. Very, very hard to understand. Very, very hard. But it says, whoever discovers interpretation of these sayings will not taste death. That's a pretty reasonable motivator right there. Then it's number 2, he says, those who seek should not stop seeking until they find. Now listen to this. When they find, they will be disturbed. Oh yeah. When they are disturbed, they will marvel. Oh yeah. And will reign over all. Well, I don't know about that. That hasn't started, I can guarantee you that. And after they have reigned, they will rest. Well, I'm not resting a whole lot either, Jesus. Anyway, there's a lot in here. There's a lot to look at. Anyway, and then all of the stuff in the Bible, and then there was all kinds of other religious texts. You know, I don't discount any of them. I don't discount any of them. They all have their little twist on it. But if you look at them, they've all been discounted because they go into this mystical realm of giants and miracles and spirits and eternal things. And I'm telling you right now, as far as I can determine, there's an eternity, and you want to get your life in order and get onto that eternal good side, because the eternal bad side, as far as I can determine, there is one, and it is not good at all. All right, let's just finish it up here. So why did Jesus have to die for us? As we started, I said, at the heart of the story of God is his love for the world. We find the cross. We see Jesus willingly going to his death for the sake of the world. And I say he did it to show us. We see an innocent person die the death of a criminal, and he did it willingly. He knew they were going to come and get him, and he just didn't try to hide or do anything. The question we come back to when looking at the horror of the cross is, why did Jesus have to die? Why did he have to die? He could have said, he could have just called in a bunch of angels and that would have been it. Or like my brother says, if he's that powerful, you just could shoot him with laser beams. No, I've given my understanding of why, and you can only get out of hate with love. That's the only way you can counteract it. But when you have the most terrible, hateful people on earth, like Hitler, and right now, I'm telling you, Mr. Putin, you are looking like one of that same mold. And I would ask for forgiveness right now and make amends as best you can. But that's just what I'm saying. Anyway, why did Jesus do this for us? Just exactly what I said. I believe this is the only reason is that if you live a good life, I'll take you with me because I know you'll do a good job in the new realm. And there's going to be a new realm. That's my feeling.